Hello, my name is Mordred Viking. I'd like to welcome you to episode 14 of this Let's Play Europa Universalis 4 as the custom caster of Brancaster. We are of course playing the 24 custom casters scenario where there are a number of nations scattered around, for example up here Nordencaster, Huncaster, Polecaster, etc. And our objective is to basically be the last remaining caster. We have knocked out 3, I think, so Byzancaster is gone, Greycaster is gone, and unfortunately Stormcaster was in the last episode, or the episode before, defeated by Lancaster. Now, I hadn't actually commented on that because I didn't notice until it came to creating the end plate for an episode or two ago. I should also mention that I have been away in the Netherlands for the last 4 days, so much of what you have seen in that intermittent time was pre-recorded, as I have been trying to say during the actual episode, but I am now back, and this should now be more or less live. Well, not literally live, but you know, I should now be recording in real time, so I'll be able to get back to you and implement changes and suggestions and the like. It also means I have no idea what was going on before, so if I remember correctly, we were in a war against Auscaster, which we won. We managed to fight them off for long enough that... That king die? No. Oh, yeah, so our prestige went high enough so that they are not now going to break this personal union. Brancaster, Monarch Death, personal union continues. And I can annex them in about 50 years. Oh, it has to be stable for 50. Oh dear, that's... So every time they try and break away, that's a bad thing. Okay, good to know. And also, ooh, we could make them enforce religion, because we've basically just got a really big bonus to their liberty desire because we have just successfully fought them off and basically crushed their rebel sentiment and made them super loyal to us. So what we could actually do is enforce religion right now. So that enforced religion's a plus 50% liberty desire, which will knock us up to 50. However, that plus 50 would be reduced, I think, at roughly the same rate as the minus 50, which we've got from the having smashed the rebellion. So long as we keep on improving relations with them, and we have not done that for a while. Remember, it does go up to plus 200. So yeah, that actually sounds like a really good idea. And that would mean that we have yet another Protestant nation. And actually... thinking about it, yes, they are a heretic religion, which gives us minus 20 relation right now, so that would actually increase quite significantly and make them a lot more loyal. So that actually sounds like a really good idea. So something good came of that. The other thing we could do is change their culture to Saxon. It'll cost Diplo power, which I'm not too worried about. Also cost liberty desire, which I can't afford right now, so we're going to enforce the religion. Boom. So they've gone to 45%, and if we did do the enforced culture, that would cost another 25, which would take us up to 70. So no, we can't afford to do that right now, but in the future we shall, and that would be good because once we do annex them, they'll be the same culture that we are, and that means that they will be far more, what's it called? Well, Hungarian and Czech. Oh, we definitely need to do that. They're not even Germanic. It would basically mean that we can collect more taxes and stuff from them. Because if you look here, Pomeranian, accepted culture, so we get basically 100% stuff from them. But if we go over here to Polish, hover over it, plus 2 local unrest, minus 33 tax, minus 2 missionary strength, minus 33 local manpower. So it will actually make a really quite big difference if we do culture shift them. And we can essentially do that for a cheaper price and mean that we don't need to deal with the bad stuff while they are doing that. Okay, the other thing we need to do is we need to create a core because we did just take a province from someone. Tuchel. That was from Prussia. So we need to save up admin. No, that was it. We're going to burn off some of the war exhaustion because we were just in a very long war. Burning off the war exhaustion, which will mean that Tuchel will be made cheaper, and in the meantime we were converting them to Protestant because we of course are Protestant, one of the very few in Europe, although now Auscaster is too. So it's growing. We're definitely getting a stronger bloc. We need to start really pursuing some more wars in the short term to make some of these smaller countries convert forcibly. Unfortunately, there are not too many small countries left, And we were unable to make, who was it? Hessen? No, Liège. Liège? Yeah, I think it was Liège. No, it was Hessen. Convert. And there were 4 provinces, and they were too big. But these are fairly... No, they're not actually that hefty at all. They're quite poor. So force converting people is actually going to be really rather challenging, which is annoying because it means once the League Wars begin, the Catholic League is going to be very, very strong. Anyway, let's unpause. Let's just get some time passing. Because I know for a while now, at least, I will be just recovering from those various wars I've been in. We do have a bunch of rebels, but that's mostly because of our high war exhaustion. And we are reducing it over time. We're at peace, so we're getting a minus 0.1. So that's fine. Stability is positive. We have a bunch of points that we can spend. We are way ahead, way ahead in military. We're actually doing really well for monarch points here. Gosh, okay. So one thing we want to try and do is boost this up to 60%, so we can actually spend some of this stuff. I mean, we will likely want to go up in admin tech at some point fairly soon, but we also want to save enough so that we can actually core Tuchel when it comes up. We are also... Are we annexing anyone? Do we have any vassals? Yeah, we have 1 vassal. Magdeburg. And I don't think we can annex anyone for a while now because we will have the... Oh, we don't. So we could actually start annexing Magdeburg. Let's start working on that then. Or Lumberg. Lumberg was those guys. Ooh, Lumberg has Hamburg. Well, we probably want to get them first. So, first things first. Auscaster, you need relations improved. We need to make you happy, then we can culture shift you. And that's important because there are lots of cultures here which we will not accept. We will not accept Hungarian, for example, or Czech. Austrian we will because they're Germanic. The way that culture works is basically culture is split into a number of categories. So Austrian, Saxon, Prussian, no, Prussian isn't, are all split into the Germanic group. Oh, Prussian is, that's why it's white, yellow. So long as it's within that same group, then it's a tolerated culture and you get much less negative for that, but you still get some negatives. But if it's completely outside of that culture group, for example Polish, then you get much bigger penalties. And then if you have enough of your population of a certain culture, they become accepted. I'm not sure exactly that percentage is, but if you have humanism, then that percentage is less. There you go. So you basically accept cultures more easily. Humanist is basically tolerance. You're just very, very tolerant towards people. The other thing we are doing is rebuilding our army. We have a bunch of mercenaries for our infantry because we had to flesh out our front line. We are 4,800 men behind just in the cavalry and artillery, so we'll let that rebuild first. Once we have that manpower back, then we can start working on rebuilding our infantry regiments. I'm not in too much of a hurry with that because I don't think we're going to have many threats because we should have a bunch of truces with people. The thing I'm most worried about is going over in this. I really want to increase the Burghers somehow. When can I give you some more of these? 32, that's not for 7 years. Can I give you any more territory? More to the point, do I want to? I could give you these 2, ostensibly. Because remember, we want to give them the entire coast, eventually. Because that's all in the Lübeck trade node, and we want to control as much of Lübeck. So anything in red here is what they will eventually control. Once Brancaster is big enough, then we can give them the coast, and then the nobility and the clergy can split the rest. Most of it, of course, going to the nobility, which we still want to keep as kind of the primary area. Well, Greifswald is at 10%. How's the clergy doing? 17. So I would definitely need to give the clergy something. But I could give Greifswald to the Burghers, although because their loyalty is already so low, they may rise up, and I'd need to fight off a rebellion. The nobles are much more loyal right now, so it would be much less of an issue. But the problem there is I'd need to give them 2 provinces. Tuchel's not, is it? No. So, kind of looks like it would have to be, let's say, Stralsund and Kolberg. That means the nobility is generally losing territory, though. They do have a huge percentage of it already, so I think we're going to do that. That's really pissed off the nobility. I have no real way of placating them either. Burghers get that. Which means you... Oh, shoot. That's increased their influence too much. Yes, I kind of remember having that plutocratic coup coming up. See, that's the problem with being away from a game for a while. You totally forget what you're doing. Um, hmm. When do these run out? 37 years. Kidding me? Recruiting Minster granted monopolies. Hominis Novi. Stolp. This is just going to really tick everyone off, basically. No, don't give that to the Barkers, give it to the nobility. And now everyone's happy again. Except that, yeah, they're not. And that's made you even more unhappy. Okay, I'm just going to have to do without the bonus, because I'm going to have to spend a bunch of points. Which is annoying. What was the other thing I was doing? This... I'm not getting economic ideas, so that's not going to help. Yeah, I'm just going to have to spend them. I just won't spend them all. So, sports... Arranging by cost, this is development, so then we can go through this list. We are definitely going to be spending a bunch of manpower. Manpower doesn't really matter where it goes. That's not true, it does matter actually. So, one other guide that you have is these green numbers. So, for example, Lubeck, minus 40% manpower for some reason. Tuchel is plus 15 rather than these which are like plus lots. Probably because they are aristocratic areas and they have barracks and other things. So why is Lubeck so low? Minus 40%. You're not an accepted culture. You are tolerated but not accepted. So that's already minus 15% manpower right there. The other thing is they are a Burger territory and autonomy is really low. Okay, that's not a massive deal. What was Tuchel? How much does Tuchel cost? Because that was Polish, so Tuchel should cost a small fortune. It does, but it's not giving a massive penalty because it is nobility. Why can't I do any in Tuchel? Oh, it's not cool. Okay. So Lubeck I don't want to do because it's just not very valuable, so I basically want to do these. Oldmark in particular, because it's just wealthy anyway. So those are up to 63, 63, and that is all the military spent. Okay, the other thing I want to do is Diplo points. Yeah, some at least. And again, you can use these numbers as a guide, but the other thing that matters is the value. So let's sort by value once more. Lubeck probably does want an increase, because Lubeck does actually produce quite a lot. It also decreases shipbuilding time, so ships build faster. And remember, this is kind of our shipbuilding zone, so there's Rostock, Wismar, Lubeck, all want more production. The other thing to consider is the monthly production income increase, so 0.03, 0.03, 2, 4, 6, 6. That's a good one. So salt we'd want, cloth we'd want. Iron, I'm kind of surprised is so low. But we definitely want the salt. So Greifswald's going up. Greifswald's just becoming really, really rich, basically. And we can't go any further because more than 50% of Greifswald is now production. I'd need to increase admin and manpower. Let's see. You are negative because of trade good price. Glogau must have some negative modifiers. Glogau. That one. Why would you be in negative? Trade goods produced. War exhaustion is the main negative. That's not. Where's the other stuff? Local autonomy is 25. That's, yeah, normal. I have no idea. Okay, I'm just going to go with what they tell me. It's none of those buttons. It's that one, that one. Okay, let's sort by that again. So we can increase in Potsdam because I know that iron will become more valuable as the game goes on. So we'll bump you up a bit, Uckmark, just because you're quite low right now. Likewise, Wismar can always do with more. Rostock. I'm really surprised that's only in 0.02. Really surprised. Oh, boosting development increases their loyalty now. Huh. I had not noticed that before. Interesting. Still not done enough to help them though. Am I saving for anything? Because we're already kind of ahead here. And we've already got the light ship tech, which is what I wanted. Because remember, I usually let this drop to like -10, -15. So it being at -5 is really quite... I'm going to keep time going. Right, development. Lubeck can have a bit more. Lubeck's just stupidly wealthy. And cheap. Oh yeah, Stralsund. What, fish? Oh, you must have a workshop. That's fine. Hessen has religious civil disorder. Good. That means Protestantism is spreading. Stettin could do with more. That'll do. Okay, and then admin is the final one. So we gain unrest in Tuchel. I can deal with unrest, that's fine. It should mostly go away when the conversion is done, and the conversion's at 78%. We've renewed a loan because we are trying to pay off our loans. We should actually... Whoa, what's that? Plutocratic coup. So apparently you've gone above 80. That's somewhat irritating because I've been boosting Lubeck, of course. Bugger. Well, hopefully if I increase some of the others, then that will go down. Because it seems to be kind of a percentage against each other. So the Burkers now own 23% of the total development, while the nobility are at 52. So the Burkers are way more powerful than they should be at this point. I'm really tempted to give some of their land back to the nobility. I screwed up there. I'll hold up my hands and say, yeah, I screwed up. I'm not done with this, though. Right. Stop. Nobility. Rostock. Nobility. Kolberg. Nobility. 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 Burkers. Not, oh, Berlin's the capital. You can always do it in the capital, that's totally fine. And that'll do. I've actually spent way more than I had actually intended to. How's everyone feeling now? 79. So plutocratic coup has now been reduced because I increased the influence of the nobility sufficiently. Next thing up, we have Lauenburg revolt. I had not expected that to fire. Oh, in Lauenburg, it's not one of ours. Okay, our army is still at 100% maintenance. We are making a tiny bit of profit. We are expecting some more. Oh, it's just because of war exhaustion. I can't reduce my maintenance just yet. I'm paying a lot of mercenaries as part of the big problem. We need another loan. Oh, great. Advisor died. That's never good. Oh, we have an inflation reduction guy. We definitely want you because we are not currently reducing inflation at all, and we have almost 9%. That is putting us in the negative, but... oh, that's going to reduce my legitimacy a long way. I do have a fair number of royal marriages, though. So there we go, fighting for them. The other thing I was going to do was start improving relations with you guys. This is already really high. I have not actually increased you at all, so you are definitely having relations improved. And my other vassal, just so I can keep stuff going, is with you. Once these guys are above 190, I can start annexing one of them. I'd like to annex them, but I can't until I've had them as a vassal for 10 years. How long have you been a vassal? 15. Oh, that was diplomat. So I can't do it until 1527. So next year I can. Okay. Missions. Protect against Lumberg. Oh, protect their brethren. Well, that's going to happen because I'm going to be annexing them. So yes, I could do that one quite easily. Create a proper fleet. That would involve building more light ships, which I just don't have the money for right now, to be quite honest. We've gained a bunch of conquests because Lumberg has a bunch of conquests. We have lost stability because our king just died, which is very irritating, but totally fine. Thingy continued. So Auscaster is still our union. We'll be getting a bunch less monarch points than we were, but that's fine. We still need to get core, but we still have really high war exhaustion, so we'll just leave it. That's fine. We have a bunch of peasants. Whoa, a large bunch of peasants who are about to fire. Man, I really need that rebel risk to go down. Polcaster guy has died, so I need to basically get a bunch more royal marriages. Can you please send me an offer? I really don't particularly want another loan, so I'm going to reduce army maintenance, and I'm also going to switch off the forts. Yes, all of them. That should fix my money problems, at least for the short term. Then if that fires, we can grab the army. So they're going to fire in Sternberg, Greifswald, Altmark and Berlin. Uckermark is safe. It'll only fire in one of those four. Here comes the Royal Marriage from Polcaster. Good. Our legitimacy, actually, really, 27,000. At least this is my capital, so there is a fort. And we have just gained a bit of money, so we'll increase you. We have 6 months of troop money, basically. Let's bump this up to 4. We don't have any rebels for a year. Conversion was successful. Don't have any other conversions. Tuchel. Unrest should have just decreased dramatically. War exhaustion still the big one. And then separatism, because we only just took them. And that's fine. We're just going to let our army build up, because they are in fact taking attrition while they sit there and try and siege our capital. Which is fine by me. Money is ticking up, because even though we are at full maintenance now, we are not reinforcing anything. Okay, we're reinforcing 2 units. Very small. Not reinforcing any mercenaries, which is the main thing. Oh no, one of our generals died. But not our main guy. We still have our main guy in command. We're just going to wait until that goes down to about 0, because by that point our army should be pretty strong in comparison. We should not be getting a water crossing. We lost a claim, not a province. I thought that said we just lost a province. I was like, what? No, that's fine. I'm not going to worry about claims just yet. And now they have 14% chance of victory. We're going to attack them. We have a ton more morale than they do. Wow. Why? Their base morale is 0.8% of what mine is, plus I have all of my massive bonuses, including my army tradition one, which is now a whopping 16%. So my army is amazing compared to theirs, is basically what that's saying. And yeah, we thrashed them. So at this point, I'd be quite happy to reduce my maintenance, which means we won't run out of money, which is lovely. War exhaustion is reducing. Of course, fighting those battles will increase it very slightly, but it's not a massive amount. We have another bunch of, a large bunch of rebels. Coburg, Rupin, Uckberg, Rostov, Neumark, Stralsund, Potsdam. So it won't be in Berlin this time. So we're safe sitting in Berlin. And you're due to fire in 0.3 years. I'm going to very slightly bump up my army maintenance just so we are ready to fight if they do appear. Increase it a little more. Oh, why have I? Oh, right, because we just did all the reinforcements probably. So let's continue making about 1 ducat a month. That sounds good to me. Are there any other wars going on? Auscaster lost in Munster but was not annexed. Well, East Frisia has grown a lot. Hessen's being beaten. Protestantism still hasn't grown, it's just me, Jülich. Oh, that's still Jülich. Auscaster is Protestant and still converting, but they're all reformed right now because they're right adjacent to a centre of Reformed Reformation. In fact, Transdanubia is entirely Protestant and Reformed too. So we can lose 3 mercantilism, which I'm basically never going to do. Or we lose 20 loyalty with our burghers and some influence. That hurts, but it's not a massive problem. And there's our revolt. That's actually a really small one. But we do need to act upon it immediately, so we are going to go straight across. We're going to go to Sternberg and then... No, we're not. We're going to Stettin and then across. There's no river crossing. Hopefully they get there before this place falls. Go, go, go. Okay, so Coburg did fall to the rebels, which is unfortunate. And next up we're going to Coburg, which means we'll get some years of separatism there. It is very annoying that rebellions are won so easily now because there are not forts everywhere. It'd be quite nice if like rebels popped and you had a fort in adjacency, if that fort would actually protect the adjacent ones from it to make it harder for rebels to siege. Actually, that's quite a good idea, if I do say so myself. Transdanubia is having religious civil conflict. What a crying shame. Couldn't have happened to a nicer group of people. We lose a bunch of money or we gain autonomy. And local goods produced for 3 years, that's fine. I'll take that hit for 3 whole years. Burghers are disloyal, which means everything on our coast is basically going to have more unrest. Nothing I can do about it though. Power projection's falling. We've renewed a bunch of loans because we're not making enough money. But as our armies recover from these rebellions, we should make more money. And of course, whenever a rebellion fires, you get a massive amount of rebellion risk reduction in those provinces. So the more places that rebel, the less likely the rest of the stuff is to revolt. So you're basically just going to get one rebellion per cycle. Ooh, I need to increase your maintenance to full, so you get your full morale by the time you arrive, which will hopefully be the case before Lubeck itself falls, because then they'll get a fort. That'll be super annoying. We did get that morale tick, so I'm hoping we arrive on time, and I'm hoping these guys join us. Yep, they're on the move, so are they. Come on, come on, come on. Yes. I think they arrived just in time, so we should win this fight, because they're out of morale. There they go, they are broken. All you need to do to beat rebels is make them run away. That's that rebellion done. We have one more group left in Tuchel. Well, we're losing a lot of money. I don't want to lose that much. So we'll just stay in nets? Yeah, it must be nets. Okay. Easier to say than I thought. I thought it'd be some crazy German word. 80% chance of Tuchel popping. Reformer seeks safe haven. So we can gain a bunch of church power, which will actually be quite nice. Plus 1 yearly prestige. That's amazing. Bavaria will hate us. I'm totally fine by that. And we'll get the Reformer seeks refuge in Brancaster event. Oh no, Bavaria does. Yeah, I will totally do that. And that should mean I can get my third tenant, actually. And I should get quite a high plus prestige bonus. So you can see we're already positive +7, and we are getting 1.4 a year. So we're actually getting quite a lot. We could also get one of these. Let's see, we are totally army based. So most likely we'll go for the morale. We've already got discipline, we've already got prestige. We could also go for development, though we have just spent a bunch of it, so it's not as important. Legitimacy, irrelevant. Settler increase, irrelevant. Idea cost isn't too bad. We're not doing too much of that, though. Don't need those. The only one I'm kind of wondering about is the manpower recovery, which means our army size would increase more quickly. Because we are recovering right now, I think I will do that, so we can rebuild our army to full strength, particularly because we are we are a long way under our force limit, so we need quite a lot of rebuilding to happen. And we want to get rid of those mercenaries as soon as feasibly possible, because they are costing us a lot of money. Like these guys cost us 0.34 ducats a month. Regulars are 0.1 a month, so they're 3 times more expensive. For every one of these, I could have 3 of them. And we would want 3 of them. New draperies. Price of cloth has increased. Yes! This is really good for us, because we have a lot of cloth. So our production has increased, and it is now actually making us more money than traders right now. That's because our trade efficiency is terrible, because our workers hate us. Yeah, good. Had that factored in? Yes, it had factored in. Because if we look here at the what's that? Economic map mode, and then we go on to trade goods. Everything in red is cloth, and we have quite a lot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 provinces that do for cloth. That's a third of our entire nation's cloth. So yeah, good. And you'll get those random, well, they're not entirely random, but random events throughout the game. We have increased relations by quite a lot here, so I'm going to see if we can do the subject interaction with Auscaster to make them enforce culture. It's plus 25 liberty desire, and it costs us some diplo, but I can afford that, that's fine. And that will reduce over time, it's not dangerous. I can't make you guys enforce religion though, because you already are. Yeah. Okay, cool. And everyone's really happy with us. We could start converting Magdeburg, but I'm still going to wait for Limburg because I really want those coastal provinces. Or do I actually? Because those would inevitably go to the Burkers, and I kind of want more of this back territory so I can start building up the nobility more again. Oh, we have 90% chance of rebels, 0.7 years. Let's boost you up to full morale. Let's stick you in nets, so that when those rebels fire we can march straight in, not have to deal with any land lost. Okay, Lübeck gains a core on Lübeck. We cede Lübeck to Limburg. They increase their opinion by 50. Or we gain a bunch of prestige and they gain a bunch of liberty, desire, and lose opinion. That's annoying because Lüneburg's the one I wanted to get. In that case, I'm just going to start vassalizing Magdeburg. I mean, I could do that and then just basically take it straight back when I start vassalizing them. So that would increase them to 125, and it can still be increased by another 50, which would take it above 200. You know what? Yeah, you can have Lübeck. I'm hoping this doesn't increase your liberty desire above 50, which it shouldn't. And this should be ticking down because that culture shift should be going down. And they're starting to build some more troops. That's fine. They should all be Germanic, or at least converting to a Germanic, I guess. I don't know how long that takes. And as soon as this one pops, we should be done with the rebels. And basically done with this recovery period. And we can actually begin to annex Lüneburg at this point, so having given them that province won't actually have cost us much in the short term. So we will begin annexing this province. It's going to cost us a whole ton of diplo power because our diplo reputation is so high. Do it. Same religion, same culture groups, diplo power as well, so yeah. And Auscaster has been maximum increased relations, which is good, which means we have a free diplomat. So who do we need to use this diplomat on? Polcaster is still very happy in their alliance with us. Jülich is not, and we actually lost our alliance, so we're going to rebuild our alliance, because we definitely want to do that. It was broken because I think it was a treaty that they signed, which meant that they had to give it up. And then when we can, we'll send our diplomat over there to increase relations. Meanwhile, this Tuchel guy popped. We're going to step in and crush them. Our army maintenance was still at maximum, but we no longer need it to be. So we are going to reduce army maintenance. We are going to get a royal marriage with Jülich. We can no longer embargo Bavaria. Oh, Bavaria just lost a big war against Mitterkaster, I guess. Yeah, it must be. So you are no longer a rival, so I need to get a new rival. Revoke that embargo, check the rivals. We can get Anjou, Huncaster, Mitterkaster or Polcaster. We definitely don't want Polcaster, they're our ally. Who are you rivals with? Are you rivals with Polcaster by any chance? Yes, but Polcaster itself has not rivaled you. Anjou I was actually kind of trying to get on our side for a while, so I'm not going to do them. Who are the other options? Mitterkaster is possible. Oh no, they love us. They'd actually have an alliance with us, most likely. Yes, they would. Oh, that'd be a good alliance to have as well. They're really strong. I'm one over my relations limit, but I am about to lose one, so I am actually going to make an alliance with you. Please tell me you're not at war with Polcaster. No. Okay, and that would definitely mean that Huncaster will be my rival. Well, I only actually have one rival, one enemy, which is Prussia. Marvellous. Okay, we are going to reduce our army maintenance even further. Put you back in Berlin so you're protected by that, because we have no rebels popping. Anyway, that is the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe if you have enjoyed this. What? Oh, Vian did. That's annoying. I'll leave that though for the next episode. If you have any tips or advice, please do let me know. I will try and get back to you as soon as I can, which shouldn't be too long, considering I'm now back in real time doing these episodes, rather than pre-recording everything, as I have been for like a week, preparing for the weekend I was away. Anyway, yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Goodbye.